it going?
Pretty good. Just checking endplay now, getting the thrust bearing sanded down so we can get about 7,000s in.
Okay.
Hi.
What's up?
Hi.
How'd you get this out?
That's not mine.
What are you talking about?
What's that?
Nothing.
Did you pull your motor again?
It's not mine.
Liar! What did you pull your motor for?
Stuff.
Stuff? What stuff?
I broke an oil squirter.
You just have to admit, man, you've got a problem. What's an oil squirter? Do I have one?
Hey, I'm Mike.
And I'm Mike.
And I'm Kevin, and I'm in front of the camera today.
Sure are, buddy.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
And welcome back to the Hangar Hideout.
And on today's episode, I broke an oil squirter in my motor pulling the cam out, so we had to pull the motor out. And now it's on a stand, and the crank's out.
So, I'm not gonna lie, I had no idea that these oil squirters even existed. I'm just your simple-minded LS1, LS6 guy, and it's super basic. We don't have fancy stuff like this.
I told him we broke an oil squirter. He asked me, does it squirt oil? I said, that's exactly what it does.
I had no idea what it was, although the name kind of spells it out.
Yeah.
And he calls me the idiot.
So this guy down here, right there, that's an example of an oil squirter. Essentially all it does is shoot oil on the back of the piston. You really only use this in like road racing. And us good old boys, we don't like to turn. We go straight really fast.
So when building this motor, we didn't really bend the oil squirters out of the way for the additional skirt size of the diamond pistons we put in. So it ended up getting beat up so much where it was in the way of the camshaft. So when I pulled the camshaft out, it broke this little stem of the oil squirter. So I don't need them. I don't want them. I want extra oil pressure for all the important things, not oil squirter. So I'm going to be replacing this oil squirter with this bolt, just to plug off the hole. I don't want it. It doesn't belong in my motor. So to block off these oil squirters, all we're going to be doing is using a socket cap bolt just to plug off the holes. This bolt is an M10 by 1.5 pitch, 16 millimeter long, and I also got these copper washings to help seal off the hole. Oh, and thank you, cameraman. We're going to be using thread locker to make sure they don't back out, and because you don't want bolts flying around your crank, that'd be bad.
Well, that's how you get rid of useless oil squirters.
She won't be squirting anymore.
Phrasing. Anyways, that was quick, and I don't want to go home yet. Is there anything else that we could do? Maybe something with the crank?
Yeah, we'll throw the crank in. We're going to check endplay because we need to know how far it goes back and forth.
Endplay it is. Let's check it.
All right, so let's get this crankshaft in this block. You want to give me a hand?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for the help.
Anytime.
Yeah. We're going to measure crankshaft endplay by throwing the thrust bearing in, along with other bearings. Throw the center main cap on, hit it with a hammer, and we'll see how much, with the dial indicator gauge, how much actually we can go back and forth. And that's your endplay. Thank you, cameraman. Cameraman?
Launched it.
Thank you, cameraman.
You're welcome.
It's cameraman Kevin, if you haven't seen.
Hey!
So here we have our fancy dial indicator gauge. We have the gauge sitting right on the crank, and it's mounted to the engine block.
So as we move this crank back and forth, we should be able to see how much it moves back and forth. So now we have it set on 0 in one direction. We move it, and we got about 4,000ths of end play. That's not enough. This has to come back out. And we will sand down the thrust bearing to get a little bit more clearance. So this is the main bearing. The bearing on the sides here help your crankshaft from going back and forth. So to get more clearance, we need to sand down one of the sides. But you need to be careful which side you pick. I want to leave all the material I can on the back side because the clutch will end up pushing the crank forward. So I want to leave as much material as I can up there. So we're going to sand the front of it. So to do that, we're looking for an additional 3 thousandths of clearance. We have about 88 thousandths right now. Probably should zero that out. We have 89 thousandths. So we're going to sand this down until we get to 86. Try to make it as flat as possible. All right. So since it's sanded down, as you can see, we're just shy of 86 thousandths. So that should give us the end play we're looking for. So let's throw this back in the motor, put the crank back in, torque back down, and check end play again. Back to 0. That's 7 on the dot. Done. Done.
Well, looks like we had a twofer today. Started with the oil squirters, we ended with the crankshaft play.
Started with squirting, ended with end play.
Phrasing.
Okay.
I do gotta say though, did we really have to pull the motor just for the oil squirters? Could have done that in the car.
Yeah, we had to.
Either way, I had fun.
Yeah. But now all the installation is going to be easier. It's on an ender stand, so we can do the timing chain, the heads, and all the other stuff that you have yet to see yet, but you will.
Stay tuned, but I do agree.
Yeah.
Now it's easier. I'm glad it's on a stand.
So you're welcome.
You still have a problem.
No.
And welcome back to the Hangar Hideout.
Oh, that was me. All the fucking bloopers. There's a blooper.
Broken otis tomorrow.
Squirrel. I got a squirrel in there.
No more orders.
Oi,
It is really difficult to say oil squirter. Do a little crankshaft play. But I got it. Shut up. I got it.